get you out of my mind. It's like I feel it for the first time. Been thinking about you all night. I've been searching for this all my life. You're just my type. I've been looking for a boy who can treat me right. Your dark hair with those eyes so bright. They look into my soul and it sparks my life. Can I take you there? Like it was the first time, do you remember? Can I take you there? Back to when we felt like this was forever. Can I take you there? Like it was the first time, do you remember? Can I take you there? You're all I need. Can I take you there? Can I take you there?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Black and White Show here on Nova Radio Northeast 102.5 FM. Newcastle got back-to-back wins. Who would have thought we'd say that this season under Steve Bruce? Yes, it was Newcastle 2, Bournemouth 1. We're going to have all the reaction to Kieran Clark's dramatic late winner, but a winner for another defending goal scorer, has to be said. We've got Rob Spievel on controls, as normal. Good afternoon, Rob.
Oh, good afternoon to you, yes.
We've got Lee Lawler here as well. Good afternoon, Lee.
How are you doing, you alright?
And we've got a special guest, all the way from Stafford, which, ironically, is not too far away from Newcastle's next game. A big welcome to Sam. Sam, how are you tonight?
I'm very well. How are we doing?
Very, very good. Very, very good. Kyle Thompson is here. He is here. He is around the studio. But
he's not late again. He's not late again, don't worry.
Before we mention anything, he's just going to be on part 2 and part 4. Part 2 is an NUFC News Roundup. He'll be talking about the new redevelopment and the under-23s. There's been a lot going on this week, off the pitch as well with Newcastle, which I'm going to mention as well. But Redfern leaving will cause some conversation, has to be said. On the third part, we're going to be talking about the defence conundrum. 6 centre-halves, but only 3 can play at the minute with the formation we're playing. Who, at their best, is getting in our 3 defenders.
Put the other 3 up front.
Yeah, put the other 3 up front. Bang on, Rob. And final part, of course, it always is the Premier League roundup. Currently, Liverpool are playing Manchester City at Anfield. It is currently Liverpool 3, Manchester City 0. Looks like Liverpool are going to go 9 points clear at the top of the Premier League table. Is it going to be there? Yeah, we'll be discussing that with everybody here tonight. So, good evening, everyone. And Newcastle have won again. It's just getting better and better. But Lee, same 11, no surprises. Bruce couldn't really change a winning team, could he?
No, I think it's great that we've got back-to-back. So Clinton Ford, if you're watching, he questioned that last week at West Ham. Look who's laughing now, mate. Look who's laughing now, but doesn't it feel good? Back-to-back wins, yeah, about your question, Johnny. I think with the 4 injuries and the emergence of Shelby had a great game last week. You cannot really complain about that lineup. And yeah, I mean, the wing-back system suits our game. Injuries at the minute with them 4 people in suspensions, I think it was the right call, and you got it spot on. Fair play to Steve Bruce.
So yeah, we'll be talking about giving...
I'm sure we'll give him loads of credit this video for a change.
We will, I'm sure we will. Of course, if you want to get involved with the show, you can contact us via email. It's contactnftvstudio@gmail.com. You can get our questions in, or if you're listening to us or watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or all the social networking sites. So if you want to get involved, by all means, get yourself involved. Sam, easy question. How much are you looking forward to going to this game? Because I know you get to go to some games, you don't get to go to other games, but was it just one of those games that you thought, you know what, I feel like we can get 3 points today if we play like we know we can?
You look at the fixtures, and it's one of them games that you feel like you should be taking points from at home. However, back-to-back wins is a rarity these days, so I was always a bit apprehensive going into the game. But I thought first 15-20 minutes were pretty ropey. There was a lot of indecision at the back, which Dubravka and Lascelles obviously had that incident early on. Hayden and Shelby's passing was a bit wayward. But after that, after things settled down, obviously we conceded from a bit of a special set piece routine that they've obviously worked on. We were fine.
Yeah, definitely. It has to be said. I think you've got to give Bournemouth credit, Rob, with the first goal. It was well worked. It was from the training ground. No real complaints, or you give only one complaint is who was marking Harry Smith. Oh, sorry, Harry Smith.
He started. There's one howlout, right? We've got to get how many howlouts Johnny goes through today. There's one.
Harry Wilson. Apologies to Harry Wilson if he's watching. Maybe.
Well,
you never know. You never know.
Well, I think, first of all, yeah, credit to Bournemouth. It was a good goal. It was straight from the training ground. But there is a big but in this. Not my but a big but. Jethro Willems is marking Harry Wilson, and it's Callum Wilson that is quite clearly obstructing. And
I think it was Joshua King.
Was it? Oh,
I think so.
What a Bournemouth player, shall we say, for the sake of argument? A Bournemouth player is clearly restraining Willems to stop him from marking him. Don't really like that, and it's. But other than that, Bournemouth. Good training ground routine, and to be honest, I'm not complaining about it anymore because we got the win, we came from behind, great performance.
Definitely. Just before I put Sam back in, it has been another goal at Anfield. It's Liverpool 3, Manchester City 1. Bernardo Silva. On my fantasy team, so I'm quite happy that he's just scored. But yeah,
going for gold.
Yeah, just over
Silva going for gold.
Yeah, definitely. So it's just over 10 minutes after Anfield. Liverpool 3, Manchester City 1. Something is that not just part of the game now, where you can just not cheat in a way, but like Rob's saying, get in a hold of a player. As long as the referee doesn't see it, as long as VAR doesn't see it, it's part of the game now, isn't it?
It is. Fortunately, referees haven't really figured out how to use VAR properly, so defenders can get away with it, attackers can get away with it. Until VAR is used efficiently and properly, it's going to keep happening, but it's part and parcel. I think it's a contact sport at the end of the day.
Don't think many Newcastle fans were arguing about that goal. I was saying to Kyle again, that's a hell of a, even before it went in, I go, that's a great goal. Obviously, we've looked it back and sent us a couple of screenshots, and it looks like that. Obviously, Jethro Willems, it's his man, but you've got to give credit. That's a great goal. If Newcastle scored that, we would be like, fair play. I think he took it well. It's a great finish. Joshua King knows what he was doing. He's blocking Willems' run. He's free, and you've got to say it's a brilliant finish under pressure, but he's running his speed and just to coolly slot it in the corner. It's a fabulous goal.
It is fantastic. We'll get a few of your comments in now while we're obviously discussing the big game, the 3 pointers course. Let's have a look. Brad Freeland, right on. Brucey, Stephen Brucey, I think. Stephen Brucey. I've never heard Stephen Brucey. I've heard Steve Bruce, but Stephen Brucey. I've got a few comments on Facebook as well. Dale Richardson, give Bruce and the players some credit. Well-deserved win yesterday. Stevie Renforth, it is funny we don't play Longstaffers and we win 2 games in a row. Rob, we didn't play Matty, we didn't play Sean.
No.
Do you think we missed them?
Of course we missed them in the sense that they are players that really get the crowd going. They make the crowd, especially as us fans, they make us sort of feel good. And hey, Matty Longstaff has got us 3 points this season already. I think we do miss them, but at the same time, I'm glad that we do have central midfielders in that role where Shelvey and Hayden, they're at their peak at the moment. We've seen Shelvey 2 games in a row now back to his old self, the old John Joe Shelvey that we know and love. And Hayden, it's as if he's never been away after that 3-match suspension.
Yeah. Robert Renforth says in the comments, Lee, who plays in midfield against Manchester City when all 4 will be available? Because obviously Sean Longstaff has still got 1 more game suspended against Aston Villa. He'll be back for the Manchester City game. Is it still Hayden and Shelvey for you?
I think Hayden has to be. I think Hayden's now our first choice, and I think that's warranted on his performances in this calendar year. I think he has to be first pick, and then it's 1 from 2 between Sean. Obviously, he's suspended a minute, but if it was between Sean and Shelvey, even though Shelvey had a great game at West Ham, I thought he was all right on the weekend yesterday. But if I had to choose 2, I think the balance would be for me Sean. I didn't like the fact that John Joe kept picking up the ball and trying to spray it over and over again. Sometimes just go simple, play it nice. You don't have to keep pinging it. But I'll go Sean. Sean and Isaac for me.
Sam, Matty Longstaff hasn't done a great deal wrong, but sees himself probably fourth choice out of those 4 players. Scored a bit with the win against Manchester United. Didn't do a great deal wrong against Chelsea, has to be said, and then sees himself dropped for the West Ham game. Has he found himself very, very unlucky?
Yes and no. It's still early days for him, isn't it? And I don't think we should be too reliant on him so early on in his first team career. Hayden and Shelvey, after they got past half an hour yesterday, I thought were superb. Shelvey's passing really found its range, particularly in the second half with the long ball over the top with his left foot to Saint-Maximin, where either him or Almiron should have scored.
We'll touch on that definitely.
But yeah, it's still early days for Matty. I wouldn't be worried about him. There's plenty of time for him.
Yeah, definitely. Totally agree. Newcastle got back on level scoring through DeAndre Edmund, but before that, Lee, how did Saint-Maximin not score that chance? He nicks the ball past Steve Cook, runs in on goal, probably almost just outside the 6-yard box, and smashes the crossbar. If we're being picky, he has to score, doesn't he?
Got it from 8 yards. I know he's done the hard graft and trying to get there in the first place, but I'm sure he'll touch upon the other chance later on when it hits Saint-Maximin. But one of these 3 lads have only got 1 goal between all 3 of them, and with defenders are doing the work at the minute. So it's just so unfortunate as well. I think Bruce is right when he says that it will take time. It's starting to have more and more signs. Remember that stat I threw at you the other day in the Facebook chat message, where with Saint-Maximin when he starts, we've won 4 out of 6. When he doesn't start, we haven't won any. That's a stat and a half.
That is a stat and a half. I think Rob will have a few stats which we'll touch about in a little bit later. But Sam, DeAndre Edmund gets the goal. Did you celebrate fully? Because I think there's always that thought in the back of your mind with VAR when Saint-Maximin has that, I'm going to say shot because it looked more of a shot than anything else. Did you think it was a goal straight away? And do you think you've got to give credit to DeAndre Edmund because he's getting in a position now where he's gambling? He's going to try and get more goals if he can, and it's paid off this week. He was very lucky not to get a goal against West Ham last week.
100% it was a shot. It was a strange one because I think that's the first real proper time we've had a goal that needed to be properly looked at by VAR. Obviously, there was the Shares goal against Watford, which should have been looked at by VAR, but wasn't. But no, I didn't celebrate fully because it's strange. The Tannoy announces the goal scorer and whatever, and you're just kind of waiting round for half a minute, waiting for the okay with the referee for him to kick off again or point it back for a free kick. But Yedlin did ever so well. He's so quick.
Do you think he's improved under Steve Bruce? Because I thought at the end of last season, Sam, he wasn't even getting in the team. Javier Manquillo, who can't even get in the squad now, he seems to just improved dramatically in the last few games that he's played.
I think the signing of Kraft probably spurred him on a bit. They identified right wing back as a key area that we needed to strengthen. Kraft hasn't really set the world alight, and it seemed to have spurred Yedlin on. I think he's been superb since he's came back into the side.
I think also you've got to give him credit. No one's really touched upon it. Clear him off the line, which is a lot of people are forgetting. We forgot it in the videos. I think all the online match of the day and match sites didn't mention Yedlin getting one off the line as well. So
it was going wide anyway,
but he didn't know that.
It was still
he didn't know that. But for me, I would agree with what you said now with videos that he was by far the man of the match.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was sensational. That's his best, or if not one of them, that he's had the black and white shirt, and hopefully that long may that continue for me.
Yeah, definitely. 1-1 going into half time. Second half, you're just thinking towards the Gallagher. The fans, I thought it was a better atmosphere at the ground yesterday. I think it was much better than it has been against like your Watfords and your Brightons and your Wolves, where it's been anonymous or whatever the sound equivalent it is, because it just seemed to be, I don't know, the fact that maybe we beat West Ham and Rob, they're getting that goal from Kieran Clark just galvanised everybody, especially in the Gallagher where I was sitting. It just seemed to kind of give everybody a boost. But how similar was it to the goal against West Ham last week?
The Clark goal.
Yeah, I thought it was quite similar with the short corner playing it at Villa.
Oh yeah. So similar.
It was a mishit.
Yeah, it was the
same
same idea as the Fernandez goal. But you thought that we were gonna. Well, I thought we were gonna go on to get the win at half time. Did you said you thought the same as well?
I don't know, from half time I just thought yes, Bournemouth had possession, but I thought we were quite comfortable.
A little bit of a stat for you. Going into this weekend's round of fixtures, we had the worst second half record of the season in the Premier League. So I think that's no doubt improved. Yeah.
Definitely, I totally agree with that.
People in the comments wanted the stats.
Yes,
people in the comments wanted the
stats are there to be broken.
Yes,
exactly.
You mean records are there to be broken.
Yes, same thing.
You can't really break stats.
Well, you could.
You never know. Depends what stats they are. 18 minutes in, and Rob's already got the stat. That's all you need to know. I've always got a bet on 18 minutes. Well done, Lee. Kieran Clark was in the right place at the right time, and Federico Fernandez gets the assist. Why have we got our defenders playing in defence? Should they be playing number 9, number 10? Is it like the Ferdinand and Shearer, the Clark and Fernandez?
Kieran Clark's got a canny good record, you know.
10 goals, is that right, Rob? It's better
on Hosselu.
Yeah, that's right. 10 goals. That's his 10th goal. He scored 3 in the Championship, so that's 7 in the Premier League.
He's a threat. I didn't think much of Fernandez, but Fernandez has obviously scored. But you can list them all, can't you? There's 6 of them, but I think if from a set piece, Fabian Schär and Kieran Clark, you would probably point and say those two are your main guys that will get you goals. If you had a bet, that would be. But they've all chipped in, fair play at them, and if they're not doing the business up top, because I think that will come slowly. It's like I mentioned already, there is signs that Almiron, I mean, he's just so unfortunate. I know you're going to touch on it.
Yeah,
and then obviously saint-maximin hit the bar, and Joe Linton had a much better. The last 2 games, he's had much more movement. And I think they're slowly gelling. It's just they'll stay fit. I think they will score. It's just when.
When will they score? Well, who knows? We'll touch about that very shortly. But we're going to hear from DeAndre Edlin, Kieran Clark, and also Steve Bruce after their 2-1 win against Bournemouth yesterday.
What's up, Newcastle fans? Just want to say thank you for the support. Glad we got the win, and thank you guys for pushing us on. Really helped us, and let's keep the momentum going.
We knew, after the win last week, with this game coming up, that this was definitely going to be a massive game, and going into the international break, that if we could get the win, it would obviously give us probably boost us a few places up the league, and we're obviously everyone's well happy with that today.
They've been terrific since I walked through the door. It's their attitude, and that's what's pleased me more than anything today, is the attitude and the spirit which connected with the supporters. We've given them something to shout about, which was great to hear them in full voice, and they played their part. Make no mistake about that, they've played their part in the last 15-20 minutes when all hands are to the pump. They were right behind the team.
We're right behind the team. Steve Bruce is bang on there. But credit to NUFC for those clips as well. Sam, if I said to you that Kieran Clark and John Joe Shelby are leading goal scorers in the Premier League this season, what would you have said to me after 12 games?
I'd be worried, but we're getting away with it. Clark's always been a bit of a goal threat. Even when he was at Villa, he'd always be good for 5 goals a season, something like that.
He even scored against us in August 2012 when Ben Arthur scored an absolute worldie in the second half to equalise for 1-1. Anyway, sorry Sam, carry on.
We're getting away with it. It doesn't matter how they go in. It doesn't matter who scores them. It's early days for the front 3. They will click at some point. They just will. To be really picky, I miss Rondon, because I think him at the top of the front 3 with Almiron and saint-maximin behind him, then you've got a front 3 on your hands. But it's still early days in the season. Plenty of time.
Oh yes, definitely plenty of time. We'll get a few of your comments in. Paul Kinson, I'm going to say now we're going to win our next 2 games. Our next 2 games are Aston Villa away and Manchester City at home. I hope you haven't got a bet on
one of them.
It might be one of them. Another comment in is, as long as the goals are coming in, that's the main thing. They just won't go in for the strikers at the minute, but we're on the way up. Let's talk about that moment then. We're 2-1 up, and the pace from Alan Saint-Maximin is causing Bournemouth real problems. They just brought Simon Francis on, and he gets ahead of Simon Francis, does Saint-Maximin, tries to go around the keeper. Ramsdale does well, pushes it into the path of Almiron. Everybody's thinking, this is the moment. This is it. Almiron has done it. He is going to score. And while Saint-Maximin was on the floor, it hits his leg and goes over the crossbar. Rob, is that just typical Newcastle United?
2 players who we keep saying they need that goal. They need that first goal for us to get their confidence going. And I think yesterday both of them were absolutely exceptional. But it goes to show that they don't need that first goal in order to get the confidence going. However, it's really nice that those guys are in for their goal creation and their goal scoring ability. They're not in there for their defending. So for one of the two players to be denied by the other player who can't get on the score sheet, that's just you couldn't make it up. It was you couldn't make it up. Typical Newcastle, I think some people would say.
Yeah, definitely typical Newcastle, has to be said. Lee, let's talk about the performance of John Joe Shelby. His first home performance, starting home performance for a while. Do you think that was the old Shelby coming back? Some of the playing the strings a little bit, getting Almiron at the game a little bit more, Maximin at the game a little bit more. I thought it was some of the old Shelby that we were getting back, some of the better Shelby, I'm going to say. Not the best, but better.
Not first half. If he carried on that first half, in that second half, I would have subbed him off. I didn't think he impressed me first half because he was giving a lot. He was trying to. Do you know the Shelby of old that we complained about? I'll have the ball, I'll do this, I'll do that, over the top balls, and it just wasn't paying off. Second half, yes, we got a lot more freedom, especially out wide. And you bring a quiz. I even said to Kyle, who's in this room, I said to him, he's bringing Simon Francis on at right back, who's extreme. He's old. You're asking for trouble.
Just coming back from a big injury as
well.
Yeah,
you're asking for it. And I kept saying we're going out wide and we'll come in, and we obviously had several more chances and Shelby was getting on the ball. It's a big season for Shelby because the club want to extend his contract and he's got under 18 months left now.
I would.
How much you pay him though? Does he want to pay a rise? I wouldn't give him more money.
No, if it was the same money, I would. What about yourself, Sam? If you were a Newcastle hierarchy and you've got that decision, would you keep John Joe Shelby at the football club? Would you give him a new contract?
It comes down to money at the end of the day. I wouldn't be making him the club's top earner again or anything like that. If it was the same money as he was on now, an extra 3 or 4 years wouldn't hurt. He's a cracking player on his day. But as you were saying, first half he was appalling. Second half he was terrific.
Yeah, for sure.
He just needs to find consistency.
I think also getting that captaincy, because obviously Jamal went off. I think having that little bit more, okay, I'll take responsibility, probably edged him on. He would have had to go in the dressing room and be that leader.
Yeah, for sure. Rob, you've got the final decision, really. Would you be for John Joe Shelby getting a new deal, or would you be against it?
Do you want an answer immediately, or do you want what I really think?
Immediately, and then elaborate on it.
Okay, at the moment, no. But then, if you have the option to do so, just sort of let time progress a little bit. Let's delve deeper into this season. If he proves that form is temporary, class is permanent, and that he is of good Newcastle United quality, then by all means renew the contract. But at the same time, if he leaves within the next 2 years, then that's going to leave an open door for the Longstaff brothers to take charge of that position, which is not a bad thing at all.
Yeah, definitely. I like this comment from Beetle Greg 07. Put Joe Linton in defence, maybe he'll get more goals. Possibly so. It has finished at Anfield, and Liverpool are 9 points clear at the top of the Premier League. They've beaten Manchester City 3-1. We'll touch more into that game in the final part of the Black and White Show on the Radio North East 102.5 FM. And also remember, you can contact us via email. It's contactnftvstudio@gmail.com, where we'll get all your questions in. If you've got any questions about the game yesterday, and maybe in particular about Steve Bruce, we're going to touch about him very shortly, about how much credit he deserves as well. The only slight concern that I have, Lee, is Lascelles' injury. Came off after 18 minutes, and Paul Douglas, I thought it was fantastic when he came on. He just defended. I know that sounds stupid, but he just defended what he was given.
I thought you were going to have a Chris Kamara, mate, defended like Beavers.
He defended like Beavers. Unbelievable, isn't he? But no, Lascelles' injury. If he's out for a little while, how much of a concern is that?
Fortunately, we are blessed in that department. I think we'll miss more of his leadership at the back. But having said that, Kieran Clark, I'll speak, is a leader and a pointer anyways, whatever you think of his quality, he's a talker. And I think Fernandes does that naturally anyway, so we've got two there. I don't think it's a huge problem. I think in terms of captaincy, a slight problem, but we're done with videos, and you asked that question, which is on my clip coming up, is I don't think that's a huge concern about our defence. I think if it was another area, then perhaps, but it's like for like at the moment. There's no one really standing out the back And if someone gets injured, Fabian Schär comes in, or Lejeune's going to come back, it's not a huge concern. As long as it's not too long. Because we've got the international break, I don't think it's serious. And what the club are saying, I think it's just going to go for a scan, and worst case scenario, he'll be out for a month. I'm not worried.
Well, Lee's not worried, so let's get his reaction along with the rest of Newcastle Fans TV after Newcastle's 2-1 win yesterday.
I'll give it to DeAndre Edlin.
Yeah, contender for man of the match.
I would agree.
Not sure if he would be the man of the match, but got a goal right at the crucial moment as well. I think it was crucial to get that goal before half time. And I think on top of that, we saw the best of DeAndre Edlin defensively.
Is that his best performance in a Newcastle shirt?
Defensively, most definitely. It's a bit of a tongue twister, that.
Defensively,
most definitely. Going forward, we've seen him go forward like that before, and he's been unlucky to score at times. Certainly deserved the goal tonight, which I'm really pleased with. And defensively, that's. I was going to say 9, but I think I'll say 10.
Going forward, we know there's an issue, but I want to talk about positivity about him tonight. I thought he's sensational, defensive, working hard. I don't think he's his best position there. I think he is better in the middle, but defensively, he's sensational, 9 out of 10.
Can I ask you who your 3 centre-halves would be at now?
Right now?
Right now, yeah. So you've got Shaw, Lejeune and Lascelles.
So mine will be Fabian Schär.
Yeah.
Lascelles if he's fit.
Yeah.
And then probably Lejeune.
Okay.
If they're fit, on form.
If they're fit and on form, okay. Do you still feel comfortable with Dummett, Fernandes, and who else is there? Clark. It's the first time ever, I think, that we've got 6 centre-halves at Newcastle, and you go, "Oh, he's coming in. Yeah, that's fine. That's sound."
It's the one position where you don't have to worry about.
He got him spot on today, like after the goal. But you want to see that attacking intent from the start. You want to see us start early, like Bournemouth got an early goal today. I'd love to see us get an early goal and move on from that, rather than having to pull it back all the time, or like do what we did at West Ham last week. Is what I'm trying to say. So, if I was to rate Steve Bruce today, I'd probably give him a 9. I don't think he quite deserves that 10 for the start we had, but 9 I think is a fair assumption.
Well, from set pieces, mate, we're looking very good. Again, with the defence, who needs a £40 million centre forward when you've got our back 5 or 6? I mean, Rob. How many defenders have scored for us? 6 defenders, and 2 of them are one of them suspended. No, Cher's injured and Lejeune's injured because we've got 2 of them on injury duty.
Dummett that need to go.
And while they're away, they're banging the goals for fun. So they're keeping the goals out and they're putting the goals in.
Talk to me about Martin Atkinson's performance today.
It wasn't very good, and that is me putting it very. That is me putting it.
There's a reason why I give you.
No, look, for me, it just seemed that every decision. Like I remember the worst one was the second half, and Maximin just gets there before the defender, and Almiron's going through.
The linesman's right in front of the situation, and he doesn't give anything.
It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. I think he's not had a very good season this year. I
look at one in midweek with Son wrong, didn't he?
Oh, he did. And I think it was a Liverpool game which he got. It was Liverpool Man United, wasn't it, at Old Trafford? And I thought that there was definitely a foul on the Liverpool player. I think it was Origi, wasn't it? And he's not having a very good season. He'll not look at this game with a lot of credit.
We did not expect this start of the season.
None of us did.
No, definitely not. So we're going to enjoy it while it lasts, but at the same time, let's not stop to admire it. Let's kick on from here. But we've got a 16-day wait before the next game.
We will kick on, and we'll kick on with the refereeing performance of Martin Atkinson after...
what did you call it there, Johnny?
I called it disgraceful, but I called it not very good, because I'm on radio as well. That's why Kyle Thompson's not in this part, because we were a bit worried about what he might say after.
We're doing a VAR check. We kicked him out. Yeah, checking the replay.
We did. Sam, what did you make of Martin Atkinson's performance yesterday? It was safe to say he didn't do very well, to put it bluntly.
Not just him. His assistant on our right hand side as well was equally as radio friendly.
Diabolical.
Yeah. This is where VAR needs to be helping these referees out. For clear and obvious errors, it shouldn't be a big deal to just give it a check to see if it's a foul or if it's a corner. It's just not being used correctly.
It isn't. Philip Kear's scrapped VAR. He's also said Clark's been fantastic the last 5 games and Dummett was superb when he came on for the Cells. Kyle, VAR is not very good. Garth Penguin also standing is a must in England. The atmosphere in the Premier League is not very good either.
the VAR give with a goal at least though.
Yeah,
because I thought it was offside.
However, when the celebration though, like when the goal went in from Yedlin, the goal goes in, and I felt like I couldn't celebrate because suspicion of offside. I don't get my hopes up in case it's called off, and then when the goal's eventually given, it feels like the moment's gone to celebrate it.
Yeah, definitely. Joe's been saying we're not slacking in defence, and we have players to step in and improving themselves. We do. Man of the match for everybody for the yesterday's game. I'll start it off, and I'll go with Kieran Clark. I thought defensively, I'm getting the goal. I think he probably just edged it.
Are you just saying that because there's a Villa fan in the room somewhere?
I didn't mention that. I thought he was superb around. There was so many headers away from our area towards the back end of the game. I just thought he was a rock, and I think he has to start on 2 weeks on Monday. Rob, man of the match for you yesterday?
Yedlin, certainly. Like I said on the clip there, defensively that was his best performance for Newcastle. Let like a sound to get the goal. Did everything and more that you could have asked of him.
Sam?
Yeah, Yedlin for me as well. Superb, but honourable mentions to Clark and saint-maximin.
And Lee?
I think in our mind, Yedlin, I can't even speak now. DeAndre Yedlin, sensational. His best, or if not his best performance defensively, are brilliant, and going forward as well, more of it, and hopefully we'll get someone who can keep Cloth out that side.
Yeah, definitely. So I've been outnumbered. DeAndre Yedlin 3-1. So DeAndre Yedlin is our man of the match. Get your comments in if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or wherever. If you want to get your man of the match in as well. Just finally, the last bit in this part. Steve Bruce, 2 wins out of the last 2, 7 points in the last 4, or in the last 3, 10 points in the last 5. Lee, have we got to start giving this guy a little bit more credit than he's been getting at the minute?
Yeah, I think you've got to. Look, we all love Rafa Benitez, and we still would want Rafa Benitez to be here. And if Rafa Benitez was available, you would have Rafa Benitez back straight away. Doesn't matter if Steve Bruce was top of the table, you would want Rafa, because he's got that CV behind him. But look, Steve Bruce obviously we know he's a bit of a journeyman. He's been around a lot of the clubs. No disrespect, but it's lower end Premier League and Championship. That's probably where Newcastle are, to be all honesty. And to be sitting in mid-table, mid-November, 2 points off 5th. I know the league isn't great at the moment if you take out the top 4, but that's well better than expected. If you give us a rating out of Steve Bruce, I'll probably give him an 8 out of 10 so far. I think he's really improved and impressed. Of late, the start of the season was difficult, but we were saying last week and the week before is that these games are a lot more easier now, and he has to start winning. He is doing that.
Yeah, for sure. Sam, what was your initial reaction of when Steve Bruce was appointed? Obviously, I know you got a friend that's an Aston Villa fan. I would have told him all great things about him, I would have thought. But no, looking at the transition from Rafa to Steve Bruce, is it been a straightforward one from your view?
Well, whoever we got, it was never going to be completely warmly received because of Rafa. But I have to be honest, I'm over Rafa now. Obviously,
you've just hurt me.
Given the choice, of course, I would love him to still be our manager. But as I say, I miss Rondon more. But to be fair to Bruce, over the past few weeks, he's made some big calls, and he's done well. You've got to give him credit. Bringing Matty Longstaff in for the Man United win, then taking him out again, bringing Shelvey back, who's been superb for a game and a half. Fair play.
But do you know what I was saying in the videos? I think he's got to stop mentioning Rafa.
He does, but I think
he has to stop now. Even because what happens, Johnny, is when we lose a game, the fans will then go back and throw that at him. Stop mentioning Rafa. Stop mentioning "Give me time." That's gone now. Let's move on to the new direction. Inverted commas if people are listening. Not that I want the new direction. I'd like Rafa, but I'd agree to some extent now. If Rafa's gone, and Bruce needs to now clear that line and stop mentioning him.
Well, as long as they don't throw any cabbages at him at Villa Park in 2 weeks, I think we'll be alright. I think
maybe the Villa fans would do that.
I don't know. We'll have to get a Villa fan perspective on that. Maybe we'll have to wait and see. But no, Rob. Just finally on this last bit with Steve Bruce. Tactically, people are questioning him. Do you think people need to stop tactically questioning him?
I think he's proven himself over the course of this run of form that he does have what it takes to get the best tactics out of the game. All that said and done, I remember straight after the Chelsea games about 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
You know, we see comments, people saying, "Oh, he's clueless. We want him gone. We want him gone." They wouldn't dare say that the week before when we beat Man United, and yet they certainly wouldn't say that now. So don't let one game change your mind. Yeah, he's going to have more bad games throughout the season, but let's not forget he has had some success. There's no reason why he can't do that again.
Yeah, for sure. I think that sums up part one. Part two is an NUFC news roundup. There's a lot to get through. The under-23s, Redfern Leeds, who's going to come in. The redevelopment outside at St James is probably going to get Kyle's thoughts on that. He was very passionate a couple of weeks ago when this was being muted. And it's not gone in his way. It's not gone in a lot of Newcastle fans' way. How will that disrupt any potential expansion of the ground, the Boy Robson Memorial? And did we actually need another building around St James's Park? That's what will be mentioned in part two of the Black and White Show here on Nova Radio Northeast 102.5 FM. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.
You're the night sky trying to make me see your stars, but the dark gets lonely. Now I see violet, I can feel silence, and the dark's all that I see. When your stars have burnt out and your heart makes no sound, I'll find violet in your eyes. You'll always be my night sky. You'll always be my night sky. You're the night sky hiding behind dark grey clouds. I can't figure you out now. I see all blue. There is so much cold in you, and the silence is so loud when you go. I just stay dancing with my shadow all day. Watch the time. I can't find the point where past the line, right? You're the night sky, I'm trying to see your stars, but I always fear the dark. Now I see violet, I can feel your silence. You always feel so far when your stars have burnt out and your heart makes no sound. I'll find violet in your eyes. You'll always be my night sky. You'll always be my night sky.
That was Newcastle's very own Cheryl Cole fighting for this love. What a classic, Kyle Thompson. Welcome to the show.
Hola, you alright?
Yeah, very good, very good. Couple of little questions. Caleb front three will be like Bar, Cisse and Hatton Ben Arthur when they click. We'll get your opinion on that, Kyle. Do you agree that they can click? Just like Bar, Cisse and Ben Arthur.
Be that good, mate.
It's a bit too early to say, but the potential is there for them to be very exciting. Let's be honest. So it's a bold call, but you never know.
Yeah, definitely. Another email's come in from Andy. He's talking about another Andy Carroll. Time for Andy Carroll to lead the line now, Lee?
It's funny that I was championing for Andy Carroll to start, and all of a sudden Joe Linton starts to have a bit of movement. So, football is a very funny, fickle game, isn't it? But I think he will start soon if Joe Linton doesn't start banging the goals in, because this is now assuming he doesn't get any injuries in the next 2 weeks.
That's a big if.
I know it's a big if, but he'd be more fitter. I know it's only 2 weeks, but still, I think...
Wouldn't you argue, though, Joe Linton's
he's had more of an impact the last couple of weeks.
Probably his best 2 games in the Newcastle shirt in these last 2.
Yeah, I think he's had more impact and movements, but I think strikers appear to score goals.
But if, like, on a morale point of view, right, if you're Joe Linton, you haven't scored any goals, but you're playing your best football, you're getting used to the people around you and things like that. See you get dropped. What does that do? You get the number 9 shirt, you pay 40 million price tag paid for you, dropped for a person that was brought in on a free transfer.
But I think then you've got to. I can see that point.
Best performances.
But your strikers are judged by goals. He's a £40 million striker, not to be scoring 1 goal whilst the players around him do the business. I think he has to start scoring. Doesn't matter if it's Andy Carroll or it's Dwight Gay. Will always score goals.
The chances are starting to come in, Lee.
So now's the time to put them away.
The last couple of games, you've seen Maximin get a lot of chances. Almiron, Jordan had a couple yesterday. They will come.
So now's the time to put them away.
Well, give them time. They will.
It's a fascinating debate, isn't it? But we were just listening from afar there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just were saying, "Go on, boys, go on, squabble."
Just go for it. We'll just let you go on with the show. Part 2 is the NUFC news roundup. There has been a lot going on this week off the pitch as well, with the redevelopment, which we'll talk about shortly. But firstly, we're going to talk all things under 23s. And Rob, Neil Redfern leaves the football club. He wasn't here long. I don't think he'd be missed that much. Is it a blow that a manager leaves halfway through this season in any capacity?
There's always difficulties that come with it, but like you say, I can't really envisage Redfern being missed. I think it was a big mistake by Ben Dawson not building on the success that he had last season with the under 23s. Ben Dawson, in my opinion, should never have been moved from that post. So bringing Redfern in, it was always a bit of a risk, and I think, like I say, he's not really had the time to put his mark on the under 23s, nor has he really done anything stand out to put his mark on it.
Dave Richardson just mentioned before about Andy Carroll is not fit enough at the moment, in my opinion. Potentially, I don't think he can do 90 minutes just yet.
Yeah.
Going back on the under 23s, Lee, who comes in?
Ben Dawson. I think why fix him that isn't broke. So I get that he's got a promotion and he's done well. I get that, but you've got to look at the overall picture as that this under 23 side, a lot of them. Well, you look at it now and you touch upon it shortly that a lot of them are signing contracts. 2 of them from the last 12 months have broken in the first team, and results. I know it's not all about results; it's about development. Of course, it is with the under 23s, but a lot of the lads were playing well, and they were getting to cup finals, and they were almost in the playoffs. Well, getting promoted once more, and it was quite. I don't want to say dull, but nothing was really progressing under Beardsley. I know we had to carry on with Beardsley and all that with the racism and stuff, but in terms of development and results and players having success stories, there wasn't many under Beardsley, so it's got to be Dawson.
Yeah, I think Dawson will probably be the favourite, but Kyle, is there another reason why Redfern's left, and the fact that the Barnsley job is still available? There has been rumours, he is a Barnsley legend as well. Do you think that we're putting 2 and 2 and making 25, or do you feel that maybe there is something in it?
What, for Redfern leaving? Will he allegedly have had a bust up with an assistant or something like that? For me, he shouldn't have been hired in the first place. I think the 2 lads have already touched on. Ben Dawson led the team very well last season. A couple of players made it into the first team. I know people look at the Longstaffs and things like that, but Lewis Cass made the bench against Fulham last season as well. And
as well.
Exactly. So in terms of
Tom Allen or pre-season.
Well, there you go. Then. So Ben Dawson as a coach has done his job better than any coach, I think, for the under-23s in the last 10 years, because we've got more academy products at the moment than we've had for a long time. Obviously, in the past couple of years, you've had a couple that came out of the woodwork, but none have really made the first team since Andy Carroll. Obviously, you look at the Longstaffs and that now, but before then, you can't really look at that. So Ben Dawson was getting the best out of these young lads, and obviously with the likes of loan manager of Shola coming in, getting the right loan moves for these lads and the development. But I think if under 23 level, Ben Dawson's the best for, because we're in Division 2 and we've nearly progressed to the First Division as well as making a Premier Cup final. So for me, Ben Dawson shouldn't have left in the first place, and Neil Redfern, as experienced as he is, shouldn't have took over.
It was a very brief statement which you've seen on the YouTube and Facebook social media platforms that we had. It was just basically saying that the club would like to thank Neil for his services and wish him well for the future. It wasn't a lot more than that. Rob, 2 defeats in that week as well. 3-2 against Aston Villa, very late defeat. I can't believe Aston Villa beat us. I'll explain that a little bit later in the show. But a defeat against West Brom, 1-0 at home at Whitley Park. Not a good week, really, is it?
No, difficult one. But many teams, come across difficult periods like this, and I think they're a good group of lads. I know it all depends on whether the lads who have a strong mentality are the ones out on loan at the moment, and which ones are here staying put, playing for the under-23s. But then I think, it's going to take a strong mentality, and I think it's good to learn from these sort of obstacles, if you like, at a young age as well. So hopefully this will shape them up to have a good mentality when they move on into senior teams in their professional career.
Yeah, and talking about professional stuff, professional contracts, and some more contract news lately, likes of Anderson, Watts, White, all getting new contracts. Is that the future of Newcastle United alongside the Longstaffs, maybe?
Doesn't matter whether it's under 23 or first team football, seeing players sign contracts is always good news for the club. Whether you want to look at that and think, it's to sell on value for the first team, but whatever, it is good news. And seeing the 3 lads sign, and hopefully there is more to sign. Obviously, Elliot Anderson and any 29 boy.
Yeah.
Obviously, Scotland International. I'll tell them that before the 2 years pipe up. And Callum Watts is doing great things. Stevenage, a regular, plays week in, week out. That'll be good for him. I think more at sign. I think it's promising that the club want to keep them on. And obviously, the big one, of course, is Matty. We'll talk about him in a second. But it's only promising. It's promising news, and I think hopefully that all of them go on to have successful careers. And if they don't get in the first team, go and loan them out. Look at Dan Barlaser. He spent last season and this season out on loan. He's probably at a crossroads now when he comes back that he's going to have to kick on or move.
I think Dan Barlaser will look at Sean Longstaff.
Similar, aren't they?
Yeah, look at Sean Longstaff, Matty Longstaff, and go, well, hold on a second, I think I'm better than them, or definitely better than Matty. Can I not get in this team? Because he's done really well at Accrington Stanley, has to be said. Kyle, please touch on Matty Longstaff. We'll go with that, and then we'll go back onto the last bit of news within the 23s. An under-20 call-up for England, fantastic news for him. Actually bumped into him on where I work. I'm not going to mention where I work, but
cheeky, isn't it?
It's a cheeky chicken shop. We'll say. I bumped into him there, and he couldn't stop giving credit to the players on against West Ham. And I don't know if he knew about the England call-up then, but he seemed very happy with how things were going at Newcastle. It's just a cherry on top of the cake, the England call-up, because it is a great honour at any level.
Well, he got his Premier League award at the same day as well, so cracking day for Matty and well deserved. I think his performance against Man United alone warranted that call-up. It's really good for him, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in an England shirt. And do you think Sean's better than Matty? Because you kind of downgraded him with Barlaser before Johnny.
I think Sean and Matty are very, very good players, but I just think watching Dan Barlaser from afar, especially
they've had similar trends, haven't they? They're going out on loan. The hope is there for them. Dan needs a chance in pre-season.
I definitely agree with that. And if he's still, I don't know how many years he's got left on the contract, but if Bruce isn't going to play him, I would say, look, can we get you into a championship team, and then we'll make that decision. I think he's if he's still got enough years in the contract, I would say now till the end of next season, so not this season coming, but the one after.
I think he's got 2 years.
Has he got 2 years? If that's the case, then I would go, do you know what? Let's see what you like in pre-season. If you're not what we think, let's give you a season in the Championship, like a Hull, for example.
Might be a case of what happened to Adam Armstrong. Loan, didn't get the chance, gone.
But it's going one step higher.
Yeah, it's going up and up and up.
It's going up and up, and I think maybe a Hull or a Blackburn, something like that, where they're not going to really challenge for promotion. They're not going to get relegated, but he's going to get 40-odd games in the Championship. He's going to get used to playing against top players in a sense at that level.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fantastic for him.
Well, you want that because he's a Geordie lad as well. He's another one. He's obviously a Gateshead boy through and through, and he'll want to progress. And he's not from my neck of the woods. He's from my family's neck of the woods. He's from the Guild, Rowan Skill. Went to writing school.
We're Barder.
I'm
not.
I'm not. You know, that's the family and all that. But one thing about Matty though is Sean's never played for England at any level, has he? Youth level, Matty has. Well, Matty will. So there'll be a bit of bragging rights and North Shields. And also, you mentioned Kyle, these wards. He also won the 2 goal of the months, the Premier Leagues, and obviously the match of the days. I know there's a bit of a carry on with the Man United fans saying they're just trolling him, but yeah, he won two awards. So good on
it's
him.
a fantastic finish. I was right behind.
I've been watching it on repeat the past 3 weeks.
So who doesn't like beating Manchester United? You could be a Newcastle fan, a Liverpool fan, an Aston Villa fan. Everybody likes seeing
the list is endless.
The list is endless about Manchester United for sure. Right, so the last bit on the under-23s is Stephen O'Connor, re-signed.
It's a strange one.
Why would you say it's strange? Like, I'll let you elaborate on that.
Well, why do we need to re-sign him out of the transfer window? Because he hasn't got a club.
He's a big lad, isn't he?
He's a big lad. He doesn't look 22. Obviously, people can see him. He looks a lot older. He looks like he's in his mid-20s onwards. But it's a strange one. I don't get why we're signing on him, because if the club really believed that he had the potential to break in or maybe go out on loan, they would have done that last season.
It's going to be very difficult for a defender to get into the first team.
They made that decision over the summer saying you're not good enough, and then 2 months later, oh wait a minute, we're kind of like.
I think it's just I think Stephen O'Connor's just an under-23 signing, keep his match fitness up, and then a league club will pick him up. That's personally.
It's not going to surprise if he goes, is it?
No, it won't. But that being said,
it's a short contract as well.
You're looking at seasoned professionals like Fernandes and Clark struggling to get into this team when everybody's fully fit. So for lads like Stephen O'Connor, Callum Watts, it's going to be a tall order for them to make the team, mate. It really is.
Well, the thing is with Callum Watts is that he's playing week in, week out.
At the moment, yes.
He's an older lad, a good 3 or 4 years, much more experienced than Callum Watts.
I don't think Stephen O'Connor will be here long. If you're impressed for the under-23s, I think you'll be away.
It's a bit of a strange one.
It is for sure. You know, I think like Carl Roberts maybe will look at that and go, what's going on, Rob? Because he was actually playing for the first team in this last.
And you talk about me being a bit biased, yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Rob?
Well, good on Carl Roberts for finding a club and working with.
And he's doing well, by the way.
Yeah, he's doing really well at Blythe, working under former Newcastle player Lee Clark. But then I do question the decision, but at the same time, like I say, I can't see O'Connor breaking into the first team at all whilst he's here. It's a short contract. It wouldn't like what Kyle said. It wouldn't surprise me if this was maybe a sympathetic move, because he's been without a club since we let him go in the summer. So just to keep his fitness up, so that a club can come in to sign him.
Yeah. I hope the Newcastle feels sorry for me and give me a contract and so I can get a bit more money as well.
You wouldn't be allowed on Newcastle fans TV again?
Well,
you can't speak out against a club online.
I think I need a new contract, Lee. I've been getting other people asking us to go on their channels as well.
See you later then.
Alright, I'm off then. Right, let's talk about something that's Kyle Thompson before we talk about for 10 minutes. I think we'd all be rallying
keep it
behind
clean.
him. But yeah, we mentioned it a few weeks ago on the show, the redevelopment, and Lee's got a few pictures if you're watching this on YouTube. But Kyle, for people that can't see and are listening on Nova 102.5 FM, how big is this news? The fact that there's going to be a hotel behind St James's Metro where the big car park is, which is blocking any potential expansion you'd think of the Gallagher in the future. To maybe get the capacity to over 60,000, but also the fact maybe the Sir Boy Robson Memorial is going to be moved as well. Yes, it's creating 1,200 jobs, apparently, allegedly. So it would be good for the economy. But for Newcastle United, is it the best move?
Well, on the stream, as you want us to tell the radio listeners what's going on, there's a big red square, well, rectangle, around where the Metro is. And you'd think if they want to sort the economy out, they could easily shift the focus to sorting the Metro out, because I don't know about you, but the Metro system is atrocious. It really is. It's terrible. And that's just one of many things on public transport up here that's really bad. I mean, we've went down on the tube, London, the past couple of weeks, and you see how efficient that is compared to
I hate public transport. I'm just pleased to drive.
I mean, as a student, I use public transport a lot, but going off public transport and back onto this, let's just talk about the facts with it. Mike Ashley sold this to his son-in-law for £9 million to dominate the skyline at St James's Park. £9 million to Mike Ashley is a drop in the water. It's nothing. Literally, it's a couple of £100 to us. Like, it's something, but it's not much. And for him to sell the heritage and the history of Newcastle United down the river for £9 million, for me, is an absolute joke. And I'm very passionate about this because I'm a Newcastle. As long as I've been a Newcastle fan, that ground has dominated the skyline of the city. And many fans, many people of this city take pride in that dominating the skyline. And because it kind of resembles what this city's about. It's football, it's passionate. Football's everything to this city. So when you put a couple of student flats in the way, what does that mean? It just means you're selling the soul of the city for the sake of a couple of buildings. And not even that, he's selling it to his son-in-law. And for me, there's got to be something wrong with that. There's got to be some sort of alleged something going on that someone needs to look into. Someone needs to have the stones to look into it. For me, like a national journalist need to look into this, check his files. He says in an interview in the summer, check all me records, check me papers and things like that. I challenge him. I challenge Magpie Group, Tune for Change, to request again through the likes of Chianora and people like that to look at these files, because if you ask me, I think there's something going on further as to why he's sold the soul down the river for the sake of £9 million, which is nothing to him. In Premier League terms, what does that buy you? Probably buys Joslu, Kieran Clark,
two Joslus,
aye. And for me, that's not good enough. I think whatever we can do as a fan base, we need to stand together and really try and stop this from happening, because it means a lot to the people, to not just the football club but the city as well.
Yeah, sure. No, I'm pleased that you said that so emotively and without saying any bad language. I think that is very good. Knowing Clark Thompson as well as I do, he's done that extremely well. He put a very good case forward. League, NUFC, Trust are against it, and they put their side of the argument. Kyle's mentioned the skyline. It hasn't been appealed yet, but it's been delayed. Do you think this can get appealed and could perhaps get overturned, or hasn't, as Kyle said, has money spoken at the end of the day?
Well, first of all, it's the council who have agreed for the plan to go ahead.
7 people for, 3 against.
And I'm not saying what their motives are, or where they're from.
There's only one motive, mate.
That's money. So the thing that, not so much the skyline, I think it's the development of the club in the future, because I don't mind so much of the stadium. I know yours is different, Kyle. Mine's different. There's 2 things for me, is that to extend the Gallagher for a new owner, not now, and a new owner might take 10-year time, who knows, whatever. But if you extend the Gallagher, that means you have to then build the road around it, which then leaves on top of the Metro. And the plans is to move the Sir Bobby Robson Memorial exactly.
That in itself is a disgrace.
I know that's the second one. So that is to go on top. Now people can see it on screen where the billboards are, the 3 billboards. That's where the memorial is going to be placed. So that would have to, again, if the Gallagher was to be extended, the road would have to be moved. And then where are you going to put the memorial? There's no space for it. You would then have to probably look. If you look on screen, look at that big massive green in the background that isn't being touched. Leazes Park, you're talking a good half a mile square radius there, I would say. You can't touch behind the east stand, and I think the east stand needs a massive development. It looks tacky, looks old, because of the listed buildings behind it. So really, you're talking the Leazes Park, but because of the development already being made on the St James's Park already, it's really realistically to the Gallagher. But for the development of the council, you've got all that green for this area to move. But it's not just in terms of football. The congestion in the city centre is horrendous at the moment. I work in that green building, which you can see, in parking around the city is horrendous, even at its best now. And not just football, but you're going to probably take away 60 car park spaces. Now that might not seem much, but that's an extra 60 cars somewhere else in the city centre, which means more lead up time. And you just mentioned public transport. That's going to get worse because of that. So you're now going to find a space for 60 cars where it's chocker all the time, and we're going to put 60 cars. So the logic is that people will then find nearby estates, which is probably where, big shout out HITC, that road that you can see on the far left, that's where Ramsey lives. Now that'll start to be congested because people want to park in the city centre, and that means that area will. It's just what I'm trying to get at. It's a domino effect, not just on the club. It's everywhere. It's parking. It's the economy. It's public transport. It's the development of the future of the club. The only positive, and I don't like saying that, is that there is jobs, yes, but as a Newcastle fan, you can just see a domino effect happening.
There's not a positive. I mean,
for the economy, that's it.
Imagine moving Sir Bobby Robson statue for the sake of a couple of student flats. They literally having my life. 7 people have voted for that to happen, and then you have a knock-on effect of car parks, the memorial of Sir Bobby Robson, a club legend, a football legend, and you're moving what is like that's his stamp on this football club. That statue, it's a legacy, and the moving.
It's not just that. If you want to then redevelop the club, you're going to have to remove that again. And where are you going to put it?
It's a joke. It really is.
It is. One of the comments Mason has just said on YouTube. He is so bored of ruining the club. He's now ruining the city. Philip Key is absolutely disgraced to move the Sir Bobby statue. And
it's not the memorial.
It's the memorial.
Yeah.
Rob, we'll get your thoughts on this, and then we'll go to an advert break. There is a lot of emotion, which we've heard from Kyle, we've heard from Lee. If you maybe put a perspective on it, does it really dominate the skyline? Is it from a distance? Does it really make a massive difference, or is it just more closer to home?
It's certainly it's a close to home thing where I'm with Kyle on how it dominates the skyline. I was thinking yesterday when I was at the match that I remember when I was little and I went to my first few Newcastle games in around the early to mid noughties, and I remember just first seeing St James's Park across the Red Hugh, like from the Red Hugh Bridge, and it was there dominating the skyline. And since you've sort of built those blue buildings, student flats, and stuff that's there at the moment, doesn't dominate it as much. And I just think if you're going to build upon this proposed building, more student flats and everything, it's very sad to say that St James's Park is going to be like a chameleon.
What did Mick say? He renamed it, not the Cathedral on the Hill, it was something like the Funeral on the Hill or something, didn't he?
Yeah, it was after the Norwich game, and obviously there was a lot of, I'll say, more depressing things going on at the time, because obviously the club didn't really have any direction at the time. It still doesn't to an extent, but obviously a few wins in the last couple of games has helped. Just some good news. Newcastle did have a dinner through the week. It was at the Hall of Fame, which was mentioned, and David Craig and Rob Lee got placed into the Hall of Fame.
Did we?
Rob Lee, yeah. Well done. That will get some comments if both of you made it into the Hall of Fame. But no, Lee, fantastic for both concerned, in particular Rob Lee, because more you would probably remember him from your generation, of course.
Get the digs in. David Craig, I don't know massive amounts, but to play over 400 games at right back and be a Northern Ireland international, people of the older generation will know a little bit more about him. But yeah, Rob Lee, as you all know, I was a iconic brown ale, and he was at the heartbeat. He was our mini Frank Lampard, scoring 10 to 15 goals every season. hat-trick in Antwerp. I remember vividly as well. Fantastic. And then
it's not the one with the famous banner selling his bike for 50 quid.
Quality, and then he, obviously with the carry on with Ruud Gullit, he had to come back from that. Not just him, there were several players, it wasn't just him. And then to redevelop himself into a defensive midfielder as well. So he's had to go from attacking to defensive in the space of probably 2 years. A massive achievement. And obviously I know there's a funny story that Kevin Keegan actually missold him Newcastle. Kevin Keegan said that Newcastle was closer to London than what Middlesbrough was, because it was either us or Middlesbrough that were going to sign him, and we actually signed him as a right midfielder. So credit to Kevin Keegan to changing him and convincing him and telling him lies that London's closer.
You just give him a 2-hour red card and his decision was finally made. He came to Newcastle, no bother. Yeah. Don't want to be a red card for 10 years.
It's well deserved. Shearer's best mate, of course. Pals of a lot of players, Speech, Gibbon, Harper, Barton. So I think it's fully deserved, and it's about time, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I do like the fact that we have the Hall of Fame as well. Philip Kears, Rob Lee, terrific servant at that club. Rob Lee was unreal in the 7-1 against Spurs. I was only a nipper, and Lee was about 21.
I remember that was around Christmas. Shearer scored 2 that day.
And to top it all off, his son Ollie Lee scored the equaliser.
Yeah, he did. I was going to mention
at the
this.
Stadium of Light in the FA Cup first round.
Not that anybody cared in any way. Did you see the keeper pick the ball out the stand?
Yeah, well, the actual goal was a free kick, which the keeper dropped in under his legs and just went over the line. So not a good day for John McLaughlin, but a great one for Ollie Lee and the Lee family. So I'm sure they would have had a good night in Newcastle last night. Yeah, we're going to wrap this part up and we're going to have a quick break. And in part 3 we're going to talk about the defence conundrum. We've got 6 centre-halves: Lascelles, Clark, Lejeune, Shaw, Fernandez and Dummett. Who are the best 3? And if all are fit, who starts at the next game if available? That's all on the Black and White Show straight after this break.
Till I get up, time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways. And on close till I get up. Time is barely.
And welcome back to part 3 of the Black and White show here on Nova Radio Northeast 102.5 FM. If you want to get in contact with the show, it's contactnftvstudio@gmail.com. We'll read out your comments towards the end of the show. We've got a couple of comments in at the minute. Mark Stewart, I would keep Shelby, definitely. I really like the Longstaff, but it's better to ease them in around experience rather than have to rely on them. It's a fair point. I think that's good. Simon Jacka will be a great idea, says Nabayu Dida. Apologies if I've got that wrong.
No thanks, didn't want Shaka.
Would you not?
No, I don't want his attitude. I think his wages 130k.
Even still, if we do sign him, yes, he might be an upgrade on what we have already. Considering,
but is he a huge upgrade for 130,000 a week?
If you let me finish, his experience in a top 6 side. However, if we sign him, that will probably hinder the progression that the Longstaffs are making.
Sam, would you buy Xhaka? We've made another substitution. Sam's come back in for Kyle. Would you have Xhaka at Newcastle?
I'll give Kyle a 4 out of 10 for that last one.
No, I wouldn't have Xhaka. He's not a massive improvement. I don't think it'll happen anyway. He's too expensive. His wages are also expensive. I think it's a bit of a non-starter.
Yeah, for sure. I think his wages will be the massive issue on that one. Part 3 is the defence conundrum. It has to be said. 6 centre halves, all capable of being in Newcastle's starting 11. It has to be said, but only 3 can play because of the formation that we've got. We're going to try and get our best 3. We're going to put the case forward for each centre half, and then we're going to rank them from 1 to 6 as best as we physically can. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a big discussion. I know that some players have played better than others, but it'll be a good start. We're going to start with the captain. We're going to start with Jamal Lascelles, Rob.
Yep.
Give me the case for Jamal Lascelles. Why should he be in our defence if all defenders are fit?
I think leadership alone, Lascelles definitely gets in there on that merit. Whenever he's not there for quite a period of time, when he's out injured for a period of time, you can really sort of feel that in the pitch. Presume in the dressing room. And yes, he's not as much of a goal getter as the likes of Shah are, Cher, I should say. But yeah, Lascelles' defensive ability and leadership definitely puts him in there for me.
Sammy's played every single minute in this Premier League season up to when he got injured yesterday. Does that show how much Steve Bruce values him at the minute?
Of course it does. He's our captain, he's our leader. Since he's come into the team, the season we got relegated, there was the whole no one cares thing that he apparently took charge of in the dressing room. He cares. It's obvious he cares. He wants to do well. He should be in the England squad ahead of people like Michael Keane for me.
Yeah.
So he's class.
Lee, Lascelles got a goal against Wolves, like most of our defenders at the minute can score at the minute. What's his best attribute apart from his leadership?
Reading the game. I think when you've got the other two, that'll play alongside him, he's totally different. He's your old-fashioned English centre-back where you'll not take a touch and try and look pretty, just clear it. I like that. He's strong. I think he's probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest build. No nonsense. A defender who likes to header. Probably on the downside, I would like to see him a little bit more aggressive. But apart from that, I think he's different to the other two, which is blatantly obvious who I'm going to choose next to him. But he's the leader. I think he's best. I think he doesn't look great when he's on the left or the right of the centre-backs. Obviously, he had that little fall in that with Rafa, didn't he? That he was asked to play on the right of the centre-backs. He didn't like it. Dropped to the bench. You don't go against Rafa. I think he's can't be too far off in England. Call up. I think his form last season wasn't great. The season before he was sensational, and obviously we were all the Southgate take him, a Russia, blah, that's all of that. I think he's just something different. I think the leadership. I think he has to play if you're captain, because if your captain isn't playing, who's leading you? John Joe Shelby? Come on.
Paul Jacobson, if I'm in the USA, could I contact the show? Do you think Newcastle get Xhaka? You can contact us, Paul. Contact nftvstudio@gmail.com. We've mentioned Xhaka just before that it's unlikely that Newcastle will even go for him, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that ever materialised. The next defender is the match winner. 2 goals in the last 2 games. Rob, Kieran Clark. I'll let you continue with the debate of the defenders with Kieran Clark. He's the man on form, isn't he?
I think he is arguably our best player outside our initial starting 11. Whenever he comes into the squad for a period of games, he always does a job. It seems to me that the likes of him and Fernandes, they both know their place in the squad, that they are fill-in players rather than regular first-team players. But whenever they do come in, goodness me, they not only do they do a job, they do it to an excellent standard. And yesterday was certainly no exception. So Clark, he's given me a selection headache. I can't imagine what Steve Bruce must be feeling about it. But yeah, in this sense, over the defence conundrum, yeah, Clark is certainly knocking on the door at least. Can he get through? I'm undecided.
Sergio says, hello guys. Hello Sergio, hope you're enjoying this show. Where's the George Clooney of the fans TV, Mr. Paul?
I don't know where this has come from. Paul's been labelled George Clooney the last couple of days. I have a couple of people, I don't know where it came from.
Oh, George Clooney, it's garbage. I'll make up for his absence.
Yeah. You know, he's got a similar, you're from a similar postcode, aren't you? So you've got similar accent.
Up the DL postcode.
Yeah, I can imagine. Sergio has been saying, following every game and every video since our new one's arrival. Thank you very much. Hopefully you keep on continuing. The Golden God, if there was an award for the 12th man, Clark would win. I think that's a fair statement at the minute. Sam, Clark's played every league game since we beat Manchester United, and we've only lost once. So why would you change, or why would Kieran Clark come out of the team if a Lejeune, a Cher, a Lascelles is fit?
I think with Clark, he's good in short stints. I wouldn't want him in the team for months on end because I think he's got an error in him here and there. We saw that when he was at Villa. I wouldn't. It's not someone who I'd want to be building a defence or a team around. He's good in short stints. He's good for a goal. He's a good player, but he's not someone I'd want in the team every week.
Why not be? Because 2 goals in the last 2 games. If he makes it a hat-trick, it'll be against Aston Villa, his former club, and
would that be lovely?
I'm sure it'll be fantastic, won't it? I will mention why we keep on saying this in the final part, but yeah. Look, at the minute he can't be dropped, can he? He's undroppable.
Nobody's undroppable, but I'm going to disagree with you, Sam. I think he's improved his defensive game. I think you're all right with Aston Villa. I think there was a mistake in him. I just don't find many in him. I think he's probably underrated, like Paul Dummett, Mr. Reliable now. I can only remember really 1 or 2 games. Forrest obviously springs to mind when he was played out of position in the cup game. But how often do you think, it's Kieran Clark, you don't think that anymore. You used to think like that with Paul Dummett. I know you'll touch on that, but they're very similar where you think, yeah, he's going to do a job, he's going to get a solid 7 out of 10. I think that's what Kieran Clark is, but I think because Kieran Clark isn't as flash as other centre-backs who can play in the back line, I think that's the reason why he doesn't start every game, if assuming others are all fit.
Yeah, for sure. Kelly Wilshire says, how can you drop our leading goal scorer?
Funnily enough, on the subject of Kieran Clark and goals, here's another stat for you. Yesterday was Clark's first Newcastle goal that wasn't a header.
It's mad, that, isn't it?
It seemed to take forever, that goal going in.
He mishit it.
Slow motion.
When it was, honestly, I think you could have gone and get a steak bacon back.
Do you think he gets a touch on it?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
I've seen
100%.
it so many times that I can't see any difference in rotation of the ball after it goes past him.
You're going to claim it, aren't you?
Oh yeah, you would, but at the same time, can you really justify that it's yours?
I would. The Tunes, Lejeune is our best centre-back by a mile. Well, perfect timing because Lejeune is going to be next. He played for the under-23s against Aston Villa through the week in particular. Played relatively okay, even though Newcastle got beat 3-2. He hasn't played, obviously, since his injury against Crystal Palace, which it didn't look good at the time. They knew it was going to be a long one, but people said around about Christmas. It's not a million miles away from Christmas. But is he our best football playing centre back in terms of getting the ball and spreading it out wide, Rob?
It's difficult to say that because we've seen very little of him, and very unfortunate for him because I do think had he stayed injury free, it's because of the injury he picked up in pre-season last season. So in 2018 pre-season, he picked up that horrible injury which has certainly hindered that progress. And I think had he not got injured at that time, yes, we would be here saying he's definitely one of the first names on the team sheet. But it's sadly one of those things where injury after and then followed by another injury, it's put a huge halt in his progression, and it's very difficult for me to say yes, he would definitely be in my top 3.
Yeah, for sure. Sam, Florian Lejeune, when he's in the team, especially last season under Rafa Benitez, the team didn't lose many games. Does that show how important he is to the whole squad if he's involved and they get that confidence with him at the back?
When everyone's fit and everyone is in form, I don't just think he's our best defender. I think he's our best player.
That's some sort of stuff.
I really do. I think he's fantastic. Lascelles plays better when Lejeune is in the team. It allows it allows him to get forward a lot more. I think he's a fantastic centre back. I really do. I think he is our best player.
Lee, do you agree?
Almost. I think Fabian Schär, obviously we'll come to him in a minute, I've got a bit of love for him, but Florian Lejeune, I think is probably the most natural defender. I know he can ping a ball, which is great, because because obviously I've picked Jamal Lascelles, who's no nonsense, and then to your left, you've got someone. That's why I don't think the need for John Joe's there as much, because we know that Florian Lejeune can ping a ball, which is fantastic. It's got it in his locker, but you're right about the stats that we get more points when Florian Lejeune is in that lineup. Can he get a full season out of him? That's the only thing. Manchester City saw talent years ago when they seen this lad, and I know that he's loaned down. He's done great things with Eibar. I think he has to. And then not just that, he's experienced now. I know Kieran Clark experienced too, but I think Florian Lejeune can do a little bit more than what Kieran Clark can do, and that's why Lejeune, for me, gets ahead of Kieran Clark. If they both played for the same country, let's just say they're both Irish, Florian Lejeune starts every game for Ireland.
Florian Lejeune.
Kieran Clark.
That's not the Irish name I've ever heard.
Kieran Clark struggles to get on the Irish side. I know because he doesn't play games, but Florian Lejeune wouldn't. If he was
just been called up.
That's only because he's playing games.
Exactly. Talking about a player that always plays for his country, it's Fabian Schär. Plays for Switzerland. They've got a big qualifier coming up. It's actually between Switzerland, the Republic of Ireland, and Denmark to try and get into Euro 2020. Loves a goal. Does Fabian Schär. I always remember that one against Cardiff where he just took on everybody and put it in the bottom corner. But he scored against Watford as well. Rob, again, he's only missed a couple of games this season. But credit to the other defenders who haven't really missed them, but he's still one of our best defenders at the club, isn't he?
Yeah, not only can he do an excellent defensive job, his passing ability is brilliant. And not to mention, of course, he's really good looking.
No, you're not stealing that off me.
Bet with you.
Yeah, we've got to share it out. And it is Schär because of the Davies on his name.
Yes.
And Davies, that is the word for today. But yes, Schär, absolutely love him. I could go all day about him. I'm just lost for words even just thinking about him. Excellent, experienced international, which certainly helps. He plays regularly even during the international breaks. Leads by example, and excellent player.
Yeah, it's just another comment just coming. This man, I'm guessing he's talking about Sam here. Talks more sense. Don't bring Kyle back. Unfortunately, Kyle's coming back for part 4, but it's going to be for Lee.
I'm getting subbed out, everybody.
Sam, did you know that Fabian Schär cost less than Will Grigg?
Yes, I did know that.
Who would you rather have at Newcastle at the 2?
Well, Schär would be equally as comfortable up front as he is at the back. He's our modern day Philip Albert. He's just fantastic. He can do anything.
Except he's right-footed, but yeah.
And I think he's got less mistakes than Albert.
Yeah, Yeah, he's probably a bit more competent on the defensive side. He's superb. You can't leave him out when he's fit.
He's got
to that point. No, you can't leave him out.
£3.5 million. Remember that sort of
bargain.
Bargain. Lee,
come on, this is my moment. This is my moment.
Your man, crush you.
Oh, I love him.
Potential boyfriend in the future or whatever.
Never mind that. I'll put the ring on him. I would. Fabian Schär is a beautiful looking man. He's elegant. Bit of a hard man as well. A lot of people don't really realise that. Is that right? Okay, so Rob's got the pun in there. Rob's giggling away behind the screens, but you can pick up a booking, and I think he's a team player as well. He'll just take one for the team. No pun intended. Again, let's keep it clean. And I think I like that about him. That if there's a 1-on-1, he'll just take your man down. I like that. I like that selfishness about him. You are giggling like the girls. Honestly, man, let's switch the cameras around. Look at us. Get it off me. Look at us, man. Look at Johnny trying to keep a straight face. But I think he brings something different because, as I've touched upon as well, is that Lascelles is the old school. Lejeune can ping it more natural, whereas Fabian Schär can bring the ball out and he can dribble. He can score goals. He's a threat from set pieces. He could probably do an all right job in central defensive midfield, which a lot of people have questioned why not play him there. I think the balance with Lejeune, Lascelles and Fabian Schär is just spot on. And we perform and pick up more points when all three, I said Lejeune before, when all three are together. It's just a beautiful relationship all round.
I'll always remember that goal against Burnley last season. He just pings it off the post. I always expect when it hits the post and goes in as well against Aston Villa's Tom Heaton as well.
Goal against Ireland was pretty decent as well in his international break when he just calmly side-footed. I mean, those three are, and it's mad to talk about positivity about our defence.
Never had it, have we? We've never had it. Let's talk about the next defender, and that is Federico Fernandez. Scored against West Ham after being put back in the team after obviously Fabian Schär's injury, and then he got the assist for the second goal. Got the assist against Wolves. Why is he not in our starting 11, Rob?
Well, he was yesterday.
When all players are fit, so we're looking from what we've seen recently in the last year.
When Fernandez, he's good, but he's
not quite Colin.
I guess you could say
he's not quite legit.
What you see is that a good player, but one that you just wish could be just that little bit better at times. He has areas in his game where he does lack. He struggles to ping a long ball, and that's something that Schär can easily do. So Fernandez, he has had since signing for us, he has had the occasional shocker in his locker, which is a shame. That
nice rhyme.
Didn't mean that, but yes, he's one of those defenders. He's just not quite the full article when you see him play. Good player, great performance yesterday. Good run of form at the moment, but at the same time, to have him in the first team on a permanent basis, I'm just not comfortable with that.
Sam, you look at the games, like there's been a picture on the YouTube stream. The only game that he's being in the losing side was against the champions of Europe, Liverpool. So it's not the worst performance ever to lose against Liverpool at the minute, but you've got to say maybe he is just not as good as the rest, but a fantastic backup.
I think he's a brilliant centre-back, considering when we signed him, the same, after Swansea got relegated, the same summer, Fulham signed Alfie Mawson for 20 million, who was Fernandez's centre-back partner, and we get Fernandez for 5.
Fraction of the price. And
Deadline day, Sky Sports News.
Yes, I remember.
It was a great bit of business. I think he's brilliant. In any other era, I think he'd be first team.
My first choice, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Lee got the assist yesterday. I thought he was comfortable yesterday. I never felt in danger, which is also a good thing.
It doesn't lack any pace, but never does Jamal. But he reads the game well. He's a very, very experienced, and his contract is running out. I would offer Fernandez, even though we've got a array of brilliant centre backs, you'll probably want Fernandez at least for another year to be that man and say, okay, you're going to play 20 games this season, sign for us. I would do it if he would accept that. He's played 26, 27 games for Argentina.
Yeah.
A massive country who are nuts. I know their defence is not what it used to be. Don't get me wrong, but I think he reads the game well. I think that's why he'll get in there. But if you had to pick out of those three that you would pick, I'd probably prefer Fernandes as my next one to come in, the fourth choice after the main three.
And finally, Paul Dummett very quickly, Rob. Very steady, very 6, 7 out of 10 every week. But is it just better players around him at the minute?
Yeah, unfortunately so. I think if you put him into a different Premier League team that's on a par with us, say for example Brighton off the top of my head. Yeah, he's he's certainly on a par with Lewis Dunk. I think better than Shane Duffy. Bit of a bold statement, I know, but yes, that's sort of a bit of a hypothetical situation. Dummett, I think, good player. Of course, we're more familiar with him in the left back position, which is being occupied by Richie and Willems at the moment. But unfortunately, like you say, it is just a case of better players in that position.
Do you agree, Sam? Just better players?
Yeah. How mad is it that our defence is that strong? We're talking about Paul Dummett as 6th choice.
Where there was once Titus Bramble and John Allen Boone's song.
Exactly. He's just Captain Consistent. He's Mr. Steady. He's no frills, no messing.
Lee?
Brunsill, you get exactly what you said on the tin, innit?
But Dummett got man of the match against Tottenham.
He was sensational.
The tap on Callum Wilson was the stuff of legends, according to Philip.
I think if he didn't play for Wales, I don't think, because he's not as
doesn't like playing for Wales.
Doesn't like playing for Wales. He's not as injured as much. You don't notice he's started to show that out. It's interesting. Your brother's in the live chat though, Johnny, isn't it?
Yeah, Nick's a big fan of the show. He's not actually a Newcastle fan, believe it or not. He's a Liverpool fan.
Yeah,
so.
with Nick's Scouse accent.
Well,
nothing wrong with not having an accent.
For sure.
I've walked into that one.
Definitely. Right, lads, I'm going to put you on the spot. Pick your 3 centre-halves. We'll start with Lee. I'll let Rob have the end one. You've all of them are fit, all of them are playing well, as we've mentioned. Who's starting the game against Aston Villa, hypothetically?
They're all fit. I think I'd be shocked if all 4 of us don't say the same names.
Go on then.
It's got to be Fabian Schär to your right, Jamal Lascelles, and then Flavio Lejeune. I'd be really surprised if Rob, because I think Rob might change that last one there. But yeah, they're my 3.
Sam?
Yeah, hard to disagree. Lejeune is the first name on the team sheet every week for me when everyone's fit. And Lascelles and Schär just play so much better when he's in the team.
And Rob?
You say in a hypothetical situation where they're all playing well.
All playing well, all fit.
All fit.
But
Lejeune isn't.
Lejeune is
in real life.
In real life, yeah.
Then yeah, I would have to go for Lascelles, Schär and Lejeune.
Well, we're all in agreement because I agree with that as well. I think they put the perfect combination for Newcastle, but Clark
is a close 4th.
Yeah, Clark, Fernandes at the minute. But I would say joint 4th and Dummett last. But if he came on like he did for Lascelles, I don't think any of us would grumble at all.
No, definitely not.
And finally, in part 4 is the Premier League roundup. We're mentioning all sorts. We're mentioning Liverpool versus Manchester City. We're mentioning Watford's win against Norwich, of course, a big win at the bottom. And we'll also mention Wolves' 2-0 win over Aston Villa earlier this afternoon as well. That's all to come on the Black and White Show here on Over Radio North East. welcome back to the final part of the Black and White Show here on Nova Radio North East 102.5 FM. It is the Premier League Roundup. We like to do this every week. Get everybody's opinions on all the Premier League results. No League One or FA Cup first round, anything like that. It's proper football in the Premier League as well. So we'll get started Friday night. It was Norwich versus Watford at the Carrow Road. A big game at the bottom, Sam. And a big win for Watford. Goals from Gerard Deulofeu, Andre Gray. It's given Watford their first win. They badly needed it.
Massive for them. Norwich are in serious trouble. After, a speculative 3-1 win against a certain team and their win against Man City, they just look a completely different side. Norwich are in big, big trouble. They'll probably finish bottom.
Do you honestly think that?
Yeah.
Kyle?
Yes.
Are Norwich certainties for the drop, even though they beat Manchester City and Newcastle?
It's hard to say because they've got a lot of fight in them and they had a really good start of the season. However, since that win against Man City with like their second team or something like that, it's been nothing short of shocking for them. So the teams down the bottom can go through bits of form like that. They can. I've seen it happen before. But it's going to be an uphill battle for them, mind, because Tim Krul's kept the score down for a lot of these games they're getting beat in, to be fair.
Yeah, for sure. It has to be said that Watford are possibly on the way out of the bottom three. Norwich stuck at the bottom. Chelsea 2, Crystal Palace 0, Rob. Goals from Tammy Abraham and Christian Pulisic. Frank Lampard is doing really, really well at the minute, but you've got to give credit to the two goal scorers, Abraham and Pulisic. They're just on form and they took the goals exceptionally well.
Really good Chelsea performance. You have to commend them for the difficult circumstances that they had in the off-season with the transfer ban. And they've not sort of sat and sulked about it. What they've done is that they've accepted their situation and they've tried to make the best out of their situation. And hey-ho, they look like certain contenders for the top six, which for me, I predicted them to finish just outside the top six during the summer. So yeah, fair play to them. Typical Chelsea performances, and Abraham's scoring run continues.
Sam, are you been surprised by Frank Lampard's start as a manager in the Premier League? Since that Man United game, really, Chelsea have looked pretty good. Even against Man United, it looked okay.
Yeah, they've been impressive. I mean, that transfer ban might be a blessing in disguise. They've got a fantastic crop of youth players, which is only good for obviously Chelsea and in England for the future.
Well, hopefully it's good for England, not good for Chelsea. England obviously International Week as well next week, so Kyle will not be too happy. Doesn't really like the international break, do you, Kyle?
Well, not really, but it's one of them, isn't it? You've got to put up with it, especially off the back of 2 wins for Newcastle. So it's come at a bad time, but
it is what it is.
It is what it is. Let's just keep it at that.
Definitely. Burnley 3, West Ham United 0. What a comfortable victory it was for Sean Dyche's side. It was the battle of the Claret and Blues, Kyle. But Burnley were very, very good.
They were.
West Ham very, very poor.
They deserve a little bit of credit. However, West Ham was shocking. I've seen a lot of the defensive frailties when I went down to the London Stadium, and they got even worse yesterday. They're just so open at the minute. I think I agree with what a lot of West Ham fans have been saying, actually, and I think it's time for Pellegrini to leave. I think he's took them as far as he can take them. They're too open at the back, and if they keep Pellegrini as good as the squad they've got and the signings that they've made, I actually think they'll go down.
That might well be, but I'm thinking you got to point a lot of fingers at Roberto, the standing goalkeeper. Yeah,
he kept the score at 6, mate. I mean, he kept the score at 3. He made 3 top saves. I know he made a mass calamity, but
I'm sort of more like Roberto's run of form. Ever since Fabianski got injured, that's when West Ham's terrible run started, and it hasn't finished as of yet. Beforehand, I thought Fabianski, decent Premier League quality goalkeeper. Not really certainly West Ham.
He's certainly better than Roberto, isn't he?
But Roberto is making him look like Fabianski should be playing in the top 6.
Yeah, for sure. More comments. Time to give Bruce less stick, Andy says. I think we've mentioned that today. Brilliant. Anthony Briggs, oi Sam lad. So I think we've got a friend of Sam's. Who does he support?
Swindon.
Swindon?
Yeah. Swindon Town. I don't know if they won. But if they
1-1.
did, well done. Yeah. I was expecting
Johnny doesn't know what to expect by the term
like,
Swindon.
I was expecting something like Wolves or West Brom or Birmingham from the Stafford area, Aston Villa, something like that. I was expecting something like that. So that kind of caught me off guard. Sam, I'll get your thoughts on Burnley. Sean Dyche, what a fantastic job he's doing at Burnley.
Yeah, it's not always the prettiest, but you can't fault the man. He gets results. I think it is more of the case that West Ham were just terrible yesterday. It's a completely different team from the team that did so well last season. I don't know what's going on there. It's very, very strange.
I reckon Big Sam will be back there before the end of the season, mate. I reckon they'll go call and they'll get him back.
That'd be so funny.
It would be, because I know West Ham fans aren't really keen on Sam Allardyce, so to see him back would be quite a hilarious thing to see.
I've got a comment off Anthony Briggs. The mighty Swindon, we drew 1-1. There you go.
Bless.
There you go. Bless, definitely. Southampton 1, Everton 2. It wasn't 9-0 this week, Kyle. But Everton get their first away win in what seems a very, very long time. Marco Silva was under pressure, especially away from home. But it's sort of lifted a little bit against Southampton side who just haven't got any confidence at all under Ralph Hasenhüttl.
I mean, if he didn't beat Southampton, regardless if it's away or not, you've got serious problems, because Southampton at the moment are in free fall. I think it's between them and Norwich, who might finish bottom of the league this season. They're really that bad at the moment. But I suppose a little bit of credit needs to go Marco Silva's way, because he showed resolve in the past couple of weeks, albeit he's had the best possible opportunity to win a game, which is obviously at Southampton. But for me, then the real test for him will be in the coming weeks when he faces, let's be honest, tougher teams.
Yeah, definitely will. Everton took the lead through Tom Davies. Danny Ings equalised early on in the second half. I would have loved Danny Ings at Newcastle personally. But Richarlison, Everton's main man, got Marco Silva's side all 3 points and went up from the South Coast. Very happy, has to be said. Rob, can Everton do anything this season, or do you think it'll be, I'm going to say, a boring season for them?
Well, certainly we've got quite a bit of drama already, not necessarily good drama. I think they can certainly recover the situation that they're in, but a push for a European place, which is what they've been really crying out for quite a long time, wanting to make that next step up. That's what Everton fans have been wanting for a long time now. I can't see that happening this season. They'll have to, I think for me, they'll have to come at it fresh at the start of next season, if there's anything for that to happen. Is Marco Silva the right man for the job? I would say yes. I think he's been given a lot of unfair pressure. I've got all confidence in him to get them out of this rather ugly hole.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be an interesting season for Everton and Merseyside. We'll talk about another Merseyside team later on in the Premier League roundup. Tottenham 1, Sheffield United 1. Sun gave Spurs the lead, and then Sheffield United thought they had an equaliser, but Lundstrom's big toe was offside, as Chris Wilder put it in his post-match press conference. But George Baldock did get Sheffield United back on level terms. Again, we've talked about Sean Dyche, Sam, but what a great job Wilder's doing at Sheffield United. And Sheffield United are currently sitting 5th place. There's a bit of a gap between 4th and 5th, but they sit 5th after 12 games. What a remarkable start of the season for Sheffield United.
Amazing. I thought they'd be down the bottom all season with the way they played coming up from the Championship last season. I wouldn't want to be going to Bramall Lane anytime soon.
We do.
It's one of them. But again, from that game yesterday, it's them dreaded 3 letters, VAR.
What did you make of it, Kyle? His big toe was offside.
Well, I think I agree with Jeff Stelling off Sky Sports, to be honest, and it needs to be scrapped. If it's going to be, like, if you look at towards the technology standpoint from before the season ended last, and the amount of problems there was every week with refereeing decisions and things like that, people are saying, oh, kind of with a VAR to come in and change everything. What's it changed? We're still having the same stuff every week with VAR, and the amount of controversy it's causing for such a important thing, especially in the World Cup, the amount of things that it's solved, it's just causing so many problems. If it's going to cause this many problems, get rid of it completely.
Yeah, I think we'll have to have a VAR debate next week while it's international break.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that'll be something that we need to discuss. Leicester 2, Arsenal 0, Rob. I thought it was a very impressive performance from Leicester City and Brendan Rodgers. I thought they made Arsenal look very ordinary. Goals from Jamie Vardy, who just hasn't stopped scoring since his wife has allegedly done something to Colleen Rooney. He just seems to be getting more and more goals. But Vardy and then Maddison with a fantastic finish, has to be said. Leno had absolutely no chance. This is Leicester at its best, isn't it, when they're playing that sort of football, attacking football out of Tielemans, Damari Gray, who replaced Jose Perez. Leicester are a joy to watch when they play football like that.
Yeah, and this might be a bold statement, but I certainly think that this current Leicester squad is better than the one that won the title 4 years ago. 4 years ago. It's just timing is unfortunate for them, because I don't think they'll win the title. Though top 4 and Champions League qualification, I think, is certainly a strong possibility. But the title, I just think, is a bit too far-fetched considering how far Liverpool are ahead now. But yeah, it's unfortunate that this is the best Leicester squad that I've ever seen, at least. And funnily enough, it doesn't have Gary Lineker in, and the Walker's crisps. Yeah. The Walker's crisps, cheese and onion. But yeah, excellent Leicester squad. And it's just unfortunate that I can't see them being title contenders, even though they are an excellent squad.
Leicester are 9 points clear of Sheffield United in 5th, something I never thought I'd say at the start of the season, but that is the case. Sam, very quickly, Unai Emery, would you stick or twist? Would you get rid of him if you were Arsenal owner?
I would twist. He's clearly lost the dressing room. Allegri's meant to have been rumoured to be the next man in the door, but I can't see it. I can't see them persevering.
But if you cast your mind back to Wenger's last few years at the club, and the results in Wenger's last 2 years compared to Emery's first 2 years or so at the club, they are near identical. So it certainly shows that Arsenal fans certainly failed to see that the problem lies with the players, not the manager. What do you think?
I totally agree, but there was a stat. The last 50 games of Arsene Wenger, and that was Unai Emery's 50th game yesterday, Wenger got one more point than Unai Emery.
There's no progression, and that's why Arsenal fans wanted rid of Wenger, for progression, and they're not seeing that under the new management. So for me, I think they need to get rid of Emery straight away.
But was it Wenger's fault that there wasn't any progression under him?
It's a good question, Rob, but I think Wenger and his tactics are starting to become a bit stale, and the dressing room he started to lose the dressing room and the fan base a bit towards the end. So I think it was the right decision to get rid, but I think that they need to get rid of Emery as well.
Yeah, for sure. Manchester United beat Brighton by 3-1. Pereira and Proper own goal gave United a 2-0 lead after 20 minutes. Lewis Dunk pulled one back for Brighton early on in the second half, but just a minute later, Marcus Rashford, his shot hit off the crossbar and just went over the line.
Did you see his miss?
Yeah, he missed the easy one, didn't he? But it's a win for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and it desperately needed it. Manchester United haven't been good, but it's a win for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It relieves a tiny bit of pressure.
It does. They keep getting away with it. It's still the weakest Manchester United squad I can ever remember, but the league is so compact from 5th down to 16th. They could easily finish 5th or 6th this season.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about Midlands derby. Wolves 2, Aston Villa 1. We've mentioned Aston Villa because Sam's friend is an Aston Villa fan. He doesn't want to be named or shamed, but we'll keep his identity to himself. But Aston Villa did get beat by Wolves. Ruben Neves with a fantastic curling effort on the edge of the box gave Wolves the lead. They then doubled their lead through Raul Jimenez late on. Fantastic finish in the bottom corner. Trezeguet pulled one back for Aston Villa. His shot just went over the line. Conor Cody tried his best to get it back to all square, but big win for Wolves. Aston Villa just remain outside the bottom 3 on 11 points. Newcastle's next game is Aston Villa away. A big game for Aston Villa. Sam, you're from Stafford, so you kind of know what the Midlands rivalry is all about. Massive win for Wolves, but is the enormity of the Premier League haunting Aston Villa at the minute?
Yeah, I think they missed Grealish today, and defensively they didn't look too clever. They couldn't cope on their left-hand side with Traore's pace. I think next 2 weeks' time, saint-maximin and Almiron are going to have a field day with their wing-backs. So Villa,
You heard it here first.
Exactly. Yeah, Villa are going to be down there this season. There's no doubt about it. It's just whether they can. They'll be looking at the game against us, thinking they need 3 points.
They can't finish games. That's their biggest problem. They've dropped more points from winning positions out of the Premier League this season, and also have the worst record in the last 20 minutes of matches.
Wow. He doesn't want to be on camera, but I just want a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Arsenal are going to stay up this season. Yeah. Oh, he's gone thumbs up. He's very confident. Very confident. So yeah, Arsenal are going to stay up according to Sam's friend as well. So hopefully, for his sake, they do. And finally, the biggest game of the weekend, it has to be said, Liverpool versus Manchester City, as the champions of Europe against the champions of England. And it was the champions of Europe that won. Liverpool 3, City 1. VAR again involved for the first goal. Manchester City broke through, and it was De Bruyne's pass towards Aguero was blocked by the hand of Alexander-Arnold. Not a penalty according to Michael Oliver. It wasn't a clear and obvious error according to VAR, as Fabinho put a rocket of a shot 25 yards out past Claudio Bravo to give Liverpool the lead. They then doubled their advantage through Mo Salah's header inside the box from Andy Robertson's cross, another Andy Robertson assist. Liverpool then made it 3 early on in the second half. Henderson's cross from the byline straight to Sadio Mane with a diving header after Pep Guardiola's comments on his diving this week.
Got no one Yedlin though.
Definitely not. City did pull one back through Bernardo Silva. But, Kyle, is this Liverpool titles to lose now?
Well, it's got to be, hasn't it? I mean, they've just beat Manchester City at home. They're 8 or 9 points clear now. They've dropped 2 points all season. They're cruising at the moment, and I think Liverpool are probably the best Premier League team we've ever seen.
Wow.
They're absolutely phenomenal. We went down to Anfield and we took a 1-0 lead. For most, I mean, you look when we took a 1-0 lead, Tottenham will manage to hold it. Liverpool just have far too much fire. They just put this swarm of pressure that no team can do, and I think Klopp has just done amazing work there, and I think Liverpool are going to win the league for sure.
Sam, if any team are going to catch Liverpool, it is Manchester City. Can they catch them 9 points behind?
No, the title's going to Anfield this season. But if you're saying that City's their closest rival for the title, then you've got to include Chelsea and Leicester on points now as well.
Is it a 4-horse race, Rob?
Ooh, difficult to say. I'm always a firm believer in saying that you never win anything at this stage of the season. Like, at no point before Christmas can you say that you're on course for winning something. Liverpool, but yeah, I can't help but feel that this is going to be their year. They have the resources and they have the know-how to do it.
I think winning the Champions League definitely helped Liverpool to get past that line, and maybe it is their turn to win the Premier League after 30 years. Liverpool 8 points clear of Leicester, and Chelsea 9 clear of Manchester City. Now it looks like the title will be heading to Merseyside. I haven't said that for a long, long time. My thanks to Kyle Thompson, my thanks to Rob Stewart, and a big thank you to Sam and Lee as well. Not Robin Lee for Rob Lee. But yeah, it is Remembrance Weekend as well, and we're going to finish with offering our very best to all the families that had soldiers in their, obviously in their family generations from their previous times as well. Without them, there would be no radio show. So thank you very much to everybody, lest we forget, and thank you for listening and watching the Black and White Show.
Get you out of my mind. It's like I feel it for the first time. Been thinking about you all night. I've been searching for this all night.